now going to introduce a man, another man, who is built like an oak tree. You know Treebeard from Lord of the Rings? I think he was from the Two Towers. This man is like Treebeard from the Twin Towers, from the second book of Lord of the Rings. He's got like arms the size of tree trunks. I got to know Mark Cox. I forget who. Oh, it was Jim Burgoon who introduced me, or somebody from Jennifer Bennett's group. I can't remember who introduced me, but I am so grateful for the introduction, because Mark, even though he's built like a tree, has one of the biggest servant's hearts that I have ever met. And I was so honored to have the opportunity to be invited on his podcast back in the summer. And we just instantly, thank you, Hudson, the Two Towers. I appreciate that. To be invited onto his podcast, it was an absolute honor. And this is Mark's third climb with us. And every time he joins us, it's an absolute honor. And so with that being said, Mark, welcome back to the summit, and the summit is yours, brother.
Thanks. Thank you, man. How's everybody? Good? I don't see Faber's face, unfortunately. I always tell Faber I'm not part of the blue and green. I'm the stepchild, but I've always wanted him to be part of the black and blue, which is the martial arts colors. I'd like to get him on the mat with, if I could, but we'll see if he pops on and makes fun of me here soon. So anyway, I just lost my instructor, believe it or not. I've been doing martial arts for 40 years. And in June of 1987, Mr. Chikawa tied a black belt around my waist. And it was a trajectory. It changed my life. And it was 3 weeks ago, I'm holding his hand on the day he died, while I watched him fight for his final breaths. And fight to smile, fight to stay with us. A fighter all the way to the end, just frail. And I have a picture of me holding his hand, and I remember what those hands did for me for so long. He's outside of my father. He's the biggest influence I've had on changing the trajectory of my life, which in turn has changed thousands of people's lives in the martial arts. And it's been a tough couple weeks. I was thinking about him just the other day, just when I'm driving. I was like, it's weird to have the world without him in it. He's definitely a living Miyagi for sure, from the Karate Kid. That's what we've always called him. So I thought, right, if we sit and start thinking about it, yeah, I could tear up a little bit about him for sure. But I know what he would want from us. So it's not in the MO for me to do. So the holidays, man, they just, I don't know, man, they have a way of shining a spotlight on everything. They shine the joy, they shine love, and then it also shines on the empty chairs around a table. This time of year can bring the best memories, but it also can hit us with the hardest reminders. And if you've ever lost someone you love, you know exactly what I mean, like everybody here. But I'll tell you what I've learned about hope, especially. Hope isn't absence of pain. Hope is what rises inside of us despite the pain. So in tonight, or this afternoon, with the theme being hope for the holidays, where hearts rise again, I wanted to share what this looks like when you carry loss in the season. I've had a tough stretch myself. I lost a nephew 5 years ago. My sister's middle boy, the one we were closest to. He was a man of faith. He was a firefighter. He was a father of 4. He didn't get to see his daughter. He died 2 weeks before his daughter was born. So he didn't get to see the last one. He was a hero in every sense of the word. And then, like I said, 3 weeks ago, I lost my instructor, Mr. I. The man, second only to my father, shaped my life. He was a legacy builder and a giant in my life. So this message it's not theory for me. It's lived, it's real. But even in all that, I've learned that we can rise again if we allow us ourselves too. So I'm going to give you about 3 points. I've thought about this for the last couple of days. And then when Mr. I passed, I said, what am I going to talk about this time? I don't want a big doom and gloom. I want to have something that we can carry on. And this is about hope. It's not about, what we can, sit in sorrow about. So number one, I want to talk about honoring legacy, honoring their legacy, and don't hide from memories. I think is the first thing that we talk about. The holidays hurt because, why they hurt is because love is real. It's real. The pain is the price of having someone who mattered in our life. So we go through this pain because this person mattered in our life. So it just kind of sucks. What helps is not running from memories, but honoring them. So for Cody, let's talk about Cody for a minute. That means keeping his stories alive, laughing the way he laughed. He loved to hunt. He used to do that. He loved elk hunting, and he'd do these. He could sound just like an elk. It was weird. We have it on YouTube where he's out on a hunt and he YouTubed the whole thing. And so we get to watch that all the time, and we laugh because he's so funny out there doing his thing. And that's the way we can make sure his kids know the man he was. And as for Mr. I, it means carrying on legacy as standard in my own life, what his standards were, the discipline, the respect, the excellence. Every time I teach, every time I lead, every time I stand up here, he's with me. His words, they echo in me. We don't move on from people like that. We just don't move on from them. We move forward with them. So in this season, I encourage you to do something. Tell a story about your loved one. Cook their favorite dish. Keep one of their traditions alive. That's how we carry them into the holiday with us. So with that being said, I'm going to tell you 2 stories about him so I can get you a little personal about him so you can know him. Cody, number one, I know that the fire station, when he passed away, Cody went on that elk and he had meat from that elk, and they made meatballs from the meat from his last hunt. And we had elk meatballs at the station. The firefighters all made that for him. And I remember him just loving to go on that elk hunt. And we talk about it all the time, about him making the sounds, how to make the sounds, laughing at the other people that couldn't make the sounds of the elk, but always being there. And then I found this story out on his funeral day. I want you to imagine how our loved one's legacy moves on and on. This older man comes up to me and says, "Hey, you're his uncle." I said, "Yes, I am his uncle." And I said, he was very close to me. And it was hard for him to be a firefighter because he has dyslexia. So he started in an ambulance and he went all the way until he was a firefighter paramedic, which was really hard to do. Just kind of the man he was. But this particular man at his funeral, he says, "I'm here at this funeral today to honor him because without him, I would have been the one having a funeral." Cody moved up on him in an accident and pumping on him, doing CPR from the time he got to the accident to the hospital. Inside the hospital room, the doctor's saying, "Call it, call it." And Cody said, "I'm not calling it." Cody's up on the bed. I want you to imagine him just pushing, boom, boom, boom. And he's up on the bed, knees around him, boom, boom. And he goes, "No, we're not calling it. We're not calling it." And all of a sudden, boom, here comes the heartbeat because of my nephew. And he saved that. He goes, "I'm not leaving until I see him stable." And Cody never left his side. And that's the story I heard. And there was hundreds more like that day. That was Cody. Now, my instructor, I'll give you a personal story. I'll give you a funny one with him. I was kind of the pit bull when I was a young guy. I was very, I always had a good heart, but I was pretty high strung, very aggressive. And the martial arts kind of softened me. And I didn't do martial arts to learn how to fight. I just thought I was going to learn how to fight better. And my instructor always know how to go ahead and defuse situations. Where every Friday night was fight night, and we would stay with Mr. I, and we would talk for hours. This is what we did. All of a sudden, somebody kind of he not looking very good, walks into the studio and goes into Mr. I's office where we're kind of talking. And I'm the pit bull. I'm up right behind the guy because I'm like, man, you attack my instructor, you're going to go to sleep. And all of a sudden he goes, I'm here to see the master. I'm here to fight the master. And I'm thinking, boy, this is the wrong. I said, I'm so fired up. And I'm going to get ready to defend my instructor here in a second. And he goes, but I do weapons and I'm a master in weapons. And my instructor looks him dead in the eye and goes, oh, I can't do that because I'm only a first degree in weapons. And he diffused the whole thing. And the guy says, okay. I just walked out the door and I'm like, hey, man, you can't do that. You can't get me all hyped up like that and then just diffuse it. And this is the life lessons he's always did. How do you diffuse a situation? And what he did for me, it was just such a funny story that night. We talked about it, and I talked about it on his deathbed when we were talking. I said, Mr. I said, I carry that story with me everywhere because it was game-changing for me because I was ready to fight and you were ready for flight. Just let it go. And I always carry that with me. I appreciate that about you. And he would squeeze my hand and I could hear him labor his breath and I could feel him squeeze my hand and in appreciation. It was awesome. So if there's anything, guys, carry on their traditions, talk about their memories. Number 2 is, I think, choosing hope, even if you don't feel like it yet. Sometimes you just don't feel like it. So let's be honest. Hope doesn't just show up like fireworks going off. Most days it comes in whispers. It speaks to you. When I lost Cody and then Mr. I didn't wake up with hope. I can guarantee you that. I didn't wake up with hope the next day that Mr. I passed away. I had to choose hope. I didn't wake up with it. Hope's a daily practice. You have to get up. You have to show up. Letting yourself laugh again. Reaching out when you feel like pulling back. Serving someone else because service heals something inside all of us. When you serve someone else, that hurt for some reason goes away because service just heals. It's a weird thing God invented there. And sometimes the most hopeful thing you can do is look for one good thing in your day. What's one good thing in your day? Just one. Hope grows from the small steps we take while we're hurting. And listen, your loved ones, this is so cliche, but let's just be real. Okay. Your loved ones would never want you to pause your life in their absence. I know this to be true. There's just no way. They'd want you to live. They'd want you to keep going, and they'd want you to find joy again. Our loved ones, you know who it hurts the most when our loved ones pass? It hurts us because we have to live with the pain. There's a reason they're not coming back down from heaven. Okay. They're waiting for us to come up. We're like, I ain't going back down there. We're waiting for you to get up here. So I just say, as cliche as it sounds, there's nothing truer about it. Number 3 is about carrying their legacy into the holidays and what that looks like. You know, Cody lived with courage. He lived with faith and he had a heart for serving others. It's just how he was built. Now, Mr. he lived with discipline. He lived with honor and he lived a drive to build champions. Those aren't just memories, man. Those are blueprints. This season, I choose to honor them both by living out what they taught me. I pour more into my students. I poured more into my students since his death than I have in a long time. I do it by being a better dad. All my kids are grown, but my kids still need their dad. By being a man who shows up and fights for hope every day. If I don't show up in strength, nobody else is going to. Strength follows strength. And I want you to do the same. I want you to write down what your loved one stood for. Pick one. Pick one thing they taught you. Put it on the refrigerator. Look at it. Carry it into the holidays. Let their legacy continue through your actions. This is how we keep hope and their light alive. That's how they stay with us. If you want to stay with us, we have to carry that on for them. So this afternoon, as we kind of winding this down, I listened to all these stories, and I know that everybody has stories, right? Everybody has stories. Everybody has hurts. And we find out that we have more in common than we really don't. As the world tries to split us apart, when we have small groups like this, we realize that we're not as far away from how we feel about each other as people make it out to be. So this afternoon, I want you to hear this clearly. Hope for the holidays doesn't mean we don't feel hurt, because we're going to feel hurt. It means that we rise anyway. We get knocked down, we fight. That's just the way it goes. This is what I teach my students. It's what I teach myself on a daily. Motivation is short term. Discipline is every day. It takes discipline to rise again. It takes discipline to live legacy out. We honor people we lost by how we live now. So we're going to live in the depression. That's not honoring to them. I'm going to honor my nephew. I honor my instructor by raising more champions, by carrying on what he taught me. I've already infested tens of thousands of people. I have 800 black belts underneath me. I've tied a black belt around President Reagan. I've tied a black belt around John Wooden, an honorary black belt. It's taken me to places that nothing else ever has as a martial artist. And all those are great. But it's the mom who was attacked that I tie a black belt around her waist that would never happen to her again. It's the one that had sexually been assaulted that she would never be assaulted again. She's such a dangerous animal at this point. She will never, ever be assaulted again. So am I going to wallow in depression, or am I going to build warriors for carrying on Mr. I's legacy? How we love, how we push forward. Their story continues because we continue. This holiday season, don't run from memories. Celebrate them. Tell their stories. Carry their legacy. Let your heart rise again. Cody would want that. I know that for a fact. He didn't push on somebody's heart for almost 40 minutes because he wants us to wallow in depression. He wants us to fight because he fought. He fought for other people. Okay? Mr. I wouldn't want it. We haven't even had a service for him. I already know what he wants. I already know. He squeezed my hand on his deathbed. You know, I know what that is. I told him, I said, hey, you rest easy, Mr. I got this. I'm his highest ranking student. I've been with him for 45 years. I'm his highest ranking student out of thousands of black belts. I said, I will carry this. I got you. You rest easy. And I will develop the champions that carry on past me. The people you loved and lost, they want that too. This year we rise for them. We rise because of them, and we rise with hope, because hope is discipline. Appreciate it, Ed.
Brother, first things first, when you mentioned that you lost your instructor before the night before the summit, my deepest condolences, brother. Absolutely crushed it, man. I do want to ask a question before we go to Michael Faber. Say somebody comes to you and wants to break out of a prison that they're living in life. What would it look like to build a life that they don't have to be, that they can escape from? What would you tell them?
Well, I can tell you this as a martial arts instructor, me personally, I can tell you I have more men and moms, single moms that cry on my shoulder in my office. I'm more of a counselor than I am a self-defense instructor. The vehicle I use is self-defense, yes. So to break out of, whether it's a depression or we've lost somebody, and we are so, I said that one thing, and when we talked about is service of others. So I asked that question, what have you done today to help somebody else? And if it's nothing, I said, I encourage you to do one thing. I don't care if you go to your local church and you pass out food. I don't care if you have somebody who needs their house cleaned and they're overwhelmed, the single mom is overwhelmed, and you've decided that, hey, I'm going to go do that today. Or maybe their yard is so overburdened that they can't do it. I've done this countless times myself. Even in my own neighborhood, I'll take my mower out and I've seen somebody, I just mow it. I don't even ask. I just do it. And what it does to uplift others, and then you'll find the stories. I'm just so depressed. I haven't seen my children. But the lady 2 doors down, she's an older lady. I went and mowed her lawn, and she's in tears. And I haven't got to see my son. He hasn't even seen me for a year. And, I gave her a hug. I cleaned her yard. How can I feel depressed when I'm doing that? And it's what I tell everybody here in my office sometimes. Hey, listen, let's start here. Okay. The other side of things, I think, is physicality. We sit and wallow in our depression. We get more depressed. We get up and start moving. I don't care if you go take a walk. I don't care if you go pet dogs. I don't care what it is you do. If I get physical, this is me now. Listen, I'm a physical guy. So if I need to kind of get my head right, I will get I'll start lifting iron, and I'll start getting on the jujitsu mat and let these kids roll around and knock me around a little bit, because I'm an old man now, but I'm not quite as young as I used to be. So that's what I do. I talk about servicing others and being physical. I think those two things, they give these endorphins that work. And we sit and this is why even retirement, man, you sit and die or you get up and live. That's just the two things. That's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? That is true. She's right. Depression can't hit a moving target in the chat right there. You're right about that.
I was just going to share that. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing that.
That's 100% true. Depression gets a kick in the face when you start moving.
Absolutely. I've learned that the hard way. So thank you for sharing that, Ashley. And Mark. Hey, Faber, what do you got, bro?
First, what's up, Mark?
Hey, what's up?
It's been too long, brother. I was just talking about us hanging out in Maryland like 3 days ago. One, I would love to roll around on the mat with you. You know that. It turns me on. Second, dude, I think the one thing that I want people to really know about you, you're a bad man, no lies, but your heart, man, is so big. You care so much. You love so much. That's how you inspire me, is to love more and pour that out. Now, how you do it is headlocks and chokeholds, but it's a lot of ways to do it. I love that I met you. You definitely inspired me to be a better man, so I appreciate you.
Thanks, Mike. I do love cutting up with you, and I know that I know that I'm a little intimidating looking at the tattoos, and you hear stories about me smashing things and stuff like that. But I do have a heart of gold. I've always had a heart of gold. I feel for. My heart really is with special needs students. I can't stand to see the weak picked on. Nothing pisses me off more than that. You want to see the Hulk come out? Pick on a special needs kid in front of me and see what happens. I just can't deal with that. And I have a special heart. I was a single dad, so I raised my children, though, as a single dad. I wasn't a weekend dad. I was a single dad. I raised all 4 of my children. My daughter was 3. She's 23 now when this divorce happened, and I raised my children. So I have a special heart both for single moms, because I think the single moms have a little bit harder times than I see as a single dad. See, my discipline with my boys, I see how boys are with their single moms. So I have a heart for them, because I'm like, my boys would never do what they're doing to you, because I would kick the shit out of them, first of all. But having this, I care about that. I have a heart for that. Luckily for me, my parents are still alive and they're still married after 60 years. So I have this thing to look at. So I do have a heart for that. And I got a heart for those that lost. Man, I have a hard time with people that are hurting in front of me. I'm a sheepdog, man. I like to protect people. So it's just kind of who I am. You got to be a little bit rough on the outside to protect people, though. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I will. Hey, listen, I can't wait to roll with you, Faber. I want to get all up in that beard.
Man, I'm looking forward to it. I've been rubbing Smell Good on for days, man, just waiting for this opportunity.
And Mark, one of these years, I don't know if you've ever been to one of his men's retreats or the Movement Maker, but you got to get out there because the men's retreat by far is my favorite event that he puts on.
I
David,
talk about it so much, right? Because I'm not a real kumbaya guy, right?
He doesn't
And I
do kumbaya.
wonder, listen, I'm not sitting around and playing kumbaya and telling you my feelings. I'm telling you that right now. And now, if you want to get on the mat and bleed a little bit, you and I'll have a good conversation afterwards. I can tell you that. So if you can guarantee that we're not going to get naked and hug in the pool, I might do that.
I can never promise that, my friend, but it will be after rolling around on the mat and bleeding a little bit. All right. So we'll get both. Also, David, Mark's the only guy to ever break pellets, break stone in the parking lot of the Gaylord in Nashville. And he did it during a Movie Maker Live.
Are you serious? Was this in 22?
I do. I have video of it
No,
because
2024.
he was going to have me on stage.
I was there for that and I didn't see it.
Well, I was supposed to do it on stage and he never called me up. So I'm like, I have all these bricks. I'm like, you know what? F Faber, I'm going to go do it in the parking lot. So I did it and then I posted it. And I said, hey, this is because Faber didn't have me on stage. So I came to the parking lot and broke him. So that's what I did.
He was on the last day. He was on Sunday. He did it on Saturday in the parking lot.
Okay. I would have loved to have seen that, but this is why I love bringing around. I don't think he looks rough around the edges. Like I met, like an old friend of mine used to be tattooed up. He looked rougher around the edges than you, Mark, and that's why I love having you a part of this because I love having men around that will protect people because I'm just like you, bro. I used to work with special needs students. I drove a school bus and I had 2 students on my bus that used to pick on this one autistic kid, and I could not tolerate that. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing in my area. If I see somebody picking on a special needs student, Uncle Dave comes out, and a few people on the Unleashing Out cruise got to see Protective Uncle Dave come out, and you don't want to see that version of me because it takes a lot of work to keep him contained.
Yeah, that's why I have the Hulk on me. See that? The secret to him, he's always angry, but I got to suppress that so it doesn't come out.
That's awesome, Michael. Thank you, brother. Love you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thanks for all the nice comments too from everybody here. I hope I haven't met some of you, but definitely appreciate some of the great comments. It's been fun.
Well,
let me talk a little bit about my instructor and my nephew.
Absolutely, bro. You're always going to be a part of this, and I want you to know that. So that's why I kept hounding you before this, and I didn't know you were out of town because there's no way I'm not going to have Mark Cox on the summit because I love what you bring to the table. And as we continue to wait on our next speaker, does anybody else have any questions or comments that they want to feed over to Mark? I can see the mute is off on Deb, so go ahead, Deb.
Mark, thank you so much. Especially sharing I think he's your nephew, Cody.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah.
My boo is a retired firefighter, so you reached in and squished. And and condolences for your mentor instructor. But that also he squeezed your hand and he passed the mantle on to you.
Yes, he did. Yeah. 100% he did that.
Thank you.
And to piggyback off of that, before we go to Tish, he passed the mantle on to a very strong, formidable warrior. So you can see him living through you, Mark, and that's a beautiful thing. Tish, what do you got?
It's not just passing a marker. You are the chosen one, Mark. And that is such an esteemed honor because you are my hero. I have stalked you. Well, in HR, we're not supposed to use the word stalk. So this is a safe room. I have stalked you, and the first time I met you, and you made some comment about going to bat, and it's like, look at this red hair. Let me get my gloves. And it's you are a legend. And you already know that I have a nephew named Cody, and Cody became a chiropractor. And I shared with him about your Cody from the last time I heard you speak, and he was taken aback with that and said that he just hopes his namesake and him, the two of them, share that same passion for people. And I told him, I said, someday, you will get to meet Mark someday, and you will know that yes, Cody had that passion and that drive to survive and help. So
Yeah.
thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I love you, Tish. You always got my back.
Well, you got an army behind you, brother. So thank you for sharing that, Tish. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. I greatly appreciate you. I'll be reaching out to you for February. I haven't picked the date yet, but we got another 2-day summit coming up then, and we got something special coming up in January. And as I shared earlier, got something unique coming out. So I'll be reaching out. We're gonna transition over to our next speaker, but Mark, sincerely, sorry for your loss. We can feel your love for this man coming through the screen. You truly are a warrior, a fighter. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, bro?
Oh, you got me. Yes. And you guys are welcome. I'm going to drop a little PDF in here about those 3 things I had. So if you guys want to download it, you can. I'll download it in the chat here in just a second. Okay.
Outstanding, brother. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Merry
Appreciate
Christmas.
it. Doctor, who is it? Is it Dr. Donna? Are you the one that said, yeah, it is. Yeah, I need to get my kids into jujitsu. Absolutely. Find a good school. You know, the physicality of it and everything about it is, it's problem solving. You're going to learn how to problem solve. You're going to learn how do I stay calm under pressure, and how do I not tap out to peer pressure. So, I mean, these things are just awesome things. So if you got kids, I would definitely encourage martial arts and find the right instructor.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. Love you, bro.
Bye, you guys.